Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's unique presentation, let's take an up-close and personal, in-depth look at this limited edition 2014 Porsche 911 50th anniversary. So this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the 911 50th. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data, taking on a quick drive and show you all of the really unique throwback touches of both the interior as well as exterior. Before we begin, as a courtesy, I'd like to extend a big thanks and special shout out to AutoNation and their Porsche Plano store located just outside of Dallas in Plano, Texas, for providing us with the 911 50th anniversary featured in today's in-depth review. For more information on their dealership, which at the time of this video is under expansion, and current inventory, you could check out their website provided in the description box below. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up. Let her run. There are three unique colors on the 50th anniversary, of which we'll cover a little bit later in the video, but this particular one is finished in my favorite color, and it's called Geyser Gray Metallic, a very unique hue kind of reminiscent to the 1960s. Inside, it's paired with a Geyser Gray leather interior with combination houndstooth cloth portions across the midsection of the seats, plenty of brushed aluminum trim, color accent stitching, and much more. Like any traditional Porsche, the ignition cylinder is located to the left-hand side of the steering wheel, only in this car it has a built-in mechanism, so all you have to do is just put your foot on the brake, make sure the key fob is within the interior of the vehicle, and flick the switch to the right to start. The first heritage piece in the 50th is the instrumentation cluster, which, like the first gen, features green lettering, white needles, and black rings. A similar theme is also seen in the Sport Chrono Pack. Along with Porsche's active suspension management, Sport Chrono system, and more, which we'll highlight a little later in the video, this vehicle also features a dual-mode exhaust system that can be activated within the little controller stack in the center console. You can either open up the exhaust bypass valve with the switch on the right, or it's tied into the vehicle's Sport and subsequent Sport Plus mode to give it a lot more of a pronounced sound and freer flow. Other features tied with the various sport modes including decreasing shifting times of the already lightning quick PDK, firming up the dampers, and increasing throttle response, not to mention firming up the steering. Launch control is standard with the Sport Chrono setup. So let's go ahead and take a quick exhaust sound comparison, and I'll talk about a little bit more later in the video with varying revs and drive clips. First, in standard mode. When the 991 911 debuted in 2012, a new speed-proportional electric assist steering system came with it that promised better overall economy by reducing loads on the engine that's typically caused by a belt-driven hydraulic setup. Helping aid in more responsive steering is an electro-hydraulic anti-roll system known as dynamic chassis control. It continuously varies the rates of the front and rear anti-roll bars with an end goal of increasing roll stiffness for more agile maneuvering. Standard on the Carrera S and subsequent 50th anniversary is a torque vectoring system, which applies the inside rear brake to help the car rotate through a curve quicker, with simultaneously sending more power to the outer rear wheel. There are two optional transmissions that can be had with the 50th anniversary, either the standard 7-speed manual or Porsche's excellent PDK 7-speed dual-clutch automated manual gearbox, routed through a polished aluminum and leather gear selector. If desired, you can shift it manually via the selector below or by the steering wheel mounted aluminum paddle shifters. For improved economy, the PDK was designed with virtual gearing that allows both clutches to slip into gear ratios between the fixed set, which yields the lowest revs possible while cruising. The standard auto start-stop feature activates below 4 miles an hour when coming to a stop, saving a bit of fuel before taking off once more. A coasting feature allows the transmission to decouple from the engine when you take your foot off the gas, allowing it to coast without engine braking. A locking differential is standard, which is mechanical on the manual transmission and electronic with the PDK. It should come as no surprise that the 911 is a very quick car with lightning-fast gear changes and no interruptions in power, accompanied by rev-matching downshifts. So let's go ahead and flip on the automatic xenon projector headlamps, rear fog lamps, and the hazards. Both windows are fully automatic as standard. And we'll go ahead and check out the exterior. Last year, Porsche celebrated the 50th anniversary of the 911, an important milestone of the brand's performance icon. The original Type 901 911 made its initial public debut at the 1963 Frankfurt Auto Show to replace the long-running 356. With the launch of an all-new 7th generation 911 in 2012, internally known as the Type 991, the one thing that's remained consistent over the years is the 911's subtle evolution into what many consider to be the benchmark of the sports segment. Since the 901, the 911 has retained its rear engine layout, teardrop shape, and general designs inside and out, which leads it to be one of the most recognizable cars on the road. In celebrating 50 years of top-line performance, Porsche introduced this limited edition 50th anniversary coupe, which combines unique styling, increased power, and a whole host of very well-executed retro throwback touches. Keeping with tradition, the 50th anniversary was also first introduced at the 2013 Frankfurt Auto Show to be sold as a 2014 model, limited to just 1,963 units, which is a tip in the hat to the 901's original 1963 debut. The most dramatic visual upgrade enthusiasts should appreciate is that the rear-wheel drive 50th features the Carrera's 1.7-inch wider body treatment, typically reserved for the all-wheel drive Carrera 4. While the wide-body, rear-wheel drive combo has been seen before, like in the 997 GTS, the 50th is the first to debut it under the 991 architecture. Available in 3 exterior colors including graphite gray and black monochrome, this car wears, in my opinion, the most unique retro-toned color known as Geyser Gray Metallic, which is somewhat similar to a buttermilk hue. Up front, the intakes to either side of the front fascia have been blacked out and accented with subtle chrome trim, while the rear engine cover also receives a black grille with chrome slats. Replacing the reflector strip that connects the tail lamps in the Carrera 4 is another set of twin chrome bars, with the unique 91150 logo finished in classic typography on the rear panel. Anodized aluminum trim also surrounds the side glass with sport design side view mirrors. At a starting price of $125,050, around a $25,000 premium over the entry Carrera S, the 50th anniversary isn't just about visual upgrades. It also features a number of standard performance goodies that are otherwise optional in the entry model Carrera S, such as the Power Kit, Sport Chrono Pack, Active Suspension Management System, and the dual mode Sport exhaust. The 50th also rides 10mm lower, which should increase handling limits with a wider profile. The Power Kit is exactly how it sounds, a kit that increases power over the direct-injected 400 horsepower 3.8-liter flat 6. In this application, it produces 430 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and 325 pound-feet of torque at 5,750 RPM. This translates to 0 to 60 times around 4.2 seconds and as low as 3.8 seconds with launch control. Quarter-mile times are around 12 seconds at 115.5 miles an hour. Top speed is limited to 186 miles an hour. While the engine isn't really visible, it is dressed in a titanium-colored cover with carbon fiber inlays. The power kit begins with reworked cylinder head intake ports that now wear a polished finish. Intake camshaft stroke has been increased with revised engine management software. Porsche claims the highlight of the system is a variable resonance intake manifold with 6+1 switchable valves, which allow the system to continuously vary between power and torque-optimized geometry, thus yielding a boost in power. Thermal management is kept in check thanks to an additional center radiator. With the Sport Chrono Pack, like we talked about earlier, the 911 gains launch control, in addition to dynamic engine mounts and a stopwatch located on the dash that allows the driver to keep tabs on lap times and other pertinent data for use on the track. The dual-mode exhaust features signature polished quad pipes and allow for a much more pronounced sound when the integral butterfly valves are switched open, also like I showed you earlier. As far as overall fuel economy, the 911 does carry a 16.9 gallon tank and requires premium gas. The fuel filler neck is located on the front fender. EPA estimates range between an impressive 19 miles to a gallon in the city and 27 on the highway, which means the 911 is not only powerful, but it's pretty fuel efficient for what it is. One of my favorite aspects of the 911 50th anniversary are these super cool Fuchs-style 5-spoke forged aluminum wheels. A classic 911 style trademark produced from 1966 through 1989. These new renditions feature semi-gloss black painted pockets with polished face and rim flange. The asymmetric layout measures 20 by 9 inches in front and wider 20 by 11.5 inches in the rear, wrapped in high-performance tires, 245/35s and 305/30s respectively. They're able to hold up to 1G of lateral cornering forces. As far as the brakes, the 50th comes standard with ventilated and cross-drilled discs and red calipers. But as an option, you can also go for the carbon ceramic brakes, measuring 13.4 inches in front with yellow 6-piston aluminum calipers and 13 inches in the rear with 4-piston calipers. With this setup, the car is able to stop from 60 miles an hour in a short 106 feet. The 911 is supported by a fully independent suspension featuring McPherson struts in front and a multi-link rear with adaptive dampers and active stabilizer bars both front and rear. Overall length is 177.5 inches with a width of 72.9 inches and a height of 51 inches, right on a 96.5 inch wheelbase. Total curb weight is 3,313 pounds with a weight distribution of 38% in front and 62% in the rear. As we've seen in previous 911 offerings, build quality is the highest order, blending an impressive level of rich materials, modern appointments, and innovative technology. With the 50th anniversary, a fourth dimension is added with the successful implementation of a whole host of unique retro touches. In general, the 911 already has a classic look, from the 5-gauge instrument cluster and central tachometer to the ignition lock on the left, originally inspired by the Le Mans Start, where the left-sided ignition provided quicker and more convenient for drivers sprinting to their car. The interior of the 50th can be had in either a Gate Gray, a black dark silver combination, or this Geyser Gray that has a subtle brown tint to it. Color accent stitching is found throughout. The coolest aspect of the interior are the combination leather and houndstooth cloth seating surfaces. Houndstooth is a classic pattern of woven fabric stitched to form a distinct checkered pattern in 2 colors. These standard sport seats feature 14-way power adjustment including power thigh support and 4-way lumbar, while adaptive Sport Seats Plus with 18-way adjustments are also available, in addition to heating and ventilated options upon request. Attention to detail is absolutely wonderful, and all tied together it really turns up the cool factor to 11. Up in the fixed headrest you have 91150 logos embossed on top, while down below you have aluminum door sill entry guards. Your boot, as well as engine cover release located in any traditional 911, logoed floor mats, aluminum sport pedals, and a power tilt telescoping steering wheel. The dash is finished in leather with double accent stitching, and found throughout as well you'll find subtle touches of chrome brightwork and polished aluminum trim. The brushed aluminum trim across the doors and the dash have a coarser brushstroke to them which give them more of a raw appearance, definitely really cool in person, all finished off with a full Alcantara headliner and sunroof. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at the back seat. All you have to do is just flip the little aluminum lever forward and the seat will lock in place, then use the power controls down below to slide it forward. It's a cramped back seat, pretty typical 911, but it does offer a clever use of extra storage space. If you fold the seats down, it provides a nice flat loading space even up towards the glass. There's two little portions right there at the bottom to prevent your cargo from sliding forward under harder braking. So let's go ahead and see how she sounds. First, in standard mode. So now we'll activate Sport Mode, which opens up the exhaust bypass valve for a much more pronounced sound. And we'll go ahead and shut her up. Nice soft closing doors. This 911 features the standard 445 watt Bose surround sound system, but for added punch, a 12 speaker 821 watt high-end surround sound system from Burmester is also available with dynamic 3-dimensional sound. It's all routed through the Porsche Communication Management Infotainment System with 7-inch LCD touchscreen display, not to mention hands-free Bluetooth connectivity, iPod auxiliary integration, and much more. Beneath the infotainment system is your standard dual-zone electronic automatic climate control with 3-stage heated seats for both the driver and passenger. For a more thorough look at the infotainment system and some of the interior electronics, I have reviewed this system in some previous Porsche videos, including the 2015 911 Turbo S, so be sure to check those out. Now, I absolutely love the 50th anniversary 911. It's probably one of my favorite 911s I've seen to date. While I personally am a big fan of retro-themed vehicles, it's the way that Porsche executed this vehicle which makes it so much more special. There's many manufacturers out there that have delved into some sort of retro-inspired vehicle at some point in their history. Except for the throwback wheels, you wouldn't really notice it without taking a second glance. It's all about the fine details. It doesn't scream at you going down the road. It's taking a careful, close look at all of the little nuances they did, which really makes it all come together and make a really cool looking package. Alrighty. Go ahead and shut her down. And check out the rest of the vehicle. Now, storage space in the 911 is pretty tight if you don't utilize the space behind the front seats. It's around 4.8 cubic feet, which isn't too cramped as far as like supercar standards and stuff, but it's only enough that you can fit probably 2 medium-sized suitcases. There's also some easy access to some of your vital fluids. The passenger seat also features 14-way power adjustment with the same adjustments that you would find on the driver's seat. Of course, you have a locking glove box, lined in felt, with an extra power outlet, USB port, and auxiliary input for MP3 integration. And of course, you can't forget the cup holders, hidden behind the aluminum faceplate. There's 2 of them, you just push in, and they automatically release out. The 911 has represented the benchmark of sports car performance for 5 decades now. With the 50th anniversary, Porsche is quite a unique offering for those who appreciate automotive history, combining impressive performance, a sumptuous interior, and everyday usability. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at this very unique 2014 Porsche 911 50th anniversary. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.